Fixed blade knives offer you some of the best utility and simplicity you can get in the knife world. But the trick is, how do you carry one? Today on Tutorial Tuesday, I'm going to show you how to carry a fixed blade. The most common way to carry a fixed blade is on your belt, using a sheath and a belt clip like this one. Sometimes it'll be a loop, but you just feed your belt through here and it sits right on your hip. These are great. It holds the knife tight and it's secure, and so long as your pants stay on, your knife stays on too, which is a nice thing. However, when you carry a fixed blade like this, if you have a bigger knife, you run out of room on your torso for drawing the knife, because when you're pulling a knife out of the sheath, the full blade has to clear the sheath. Sometimes you're gonna run out of space in your torso, stab yourself in the ribs with the handle. It's just an uncomfortable experience, and that is where a drop leg sheath comes in. The drop leg sheath has the loop higher up near the handle, and this allows the blade to sit lower on the belt. This can get in the way of things when you're like driving, getting up and down a lot, so probably not the best way to carry a knife to the office. However, if you're a bushcrafter, this might still be a little uncomfortable to draw from because you spend a lot of time on your knees, and that's where a Dangler Loop comes in. You just clip your Dangler Loop to your sheath and you hang that from your belt, and the whole thing can swing back and forth. And as you kneel, stand, whatever, the knife is always facing straight down. This is a favorite of bushcrafters. But if you'd rather carry your knife horizontally, there's a lot of options there too. For those of you who've seen Jurassic World, you see Chris Pratt carrying one at the small of his back with what we call scout carry. This knife is set up for that, and it is awesome. It sits back there, and especially if you're a bit of a wider person, bigger hips, you can have a pretty big knife back there and you'll never notice it really. It might snag on something here and there, but not too much. However, it is worth noting that a scout carry fixed blade like this behind you is not great for a self-defense knife, because not only is it behind you where you can't see it and it could potentially be stolen, but also when you reach for this, you move your arm behind your mid-axillary line. And what that means is you're forcing your center of balance behind you. And as you do that, it makes you easier to tackle and push over. If you want to carry a knife horizontally for self-defense reasons, then I recommend doing it in the front in what we might call appendix carry, like with this Guardian 3. With this one, you put this through your belt right here in the front, and then you just have to reach forward and grab it in a position you're probably already grappling in anyway. This is also a great place to put your knife if you spend a lot of time sitting, because it's going to be easy to grab without causing trouble of leaning forward and hitting your armrest or whatever. So this is a great everyday carry fixed blade option as well. The next popular way to carry a fixed blade is in your pocket with a pocket fixed blade like this. These are usually smaller fixed blades unless you have really deep pockets that get really creative. And they use something like a clip here, so you just clip into your pocket right where you'd put a folder. These are increasingly popular these days because a lot of people want the strength and simplicity of a fixed blade. However, they want to just keep it right where their folder always was because that's where they're used to grabbing. And that is a big thing for pocket fixed blades that have made them quite the trend in the knife industry right now, and I'm pretty sure they're here to stay. However, very few sheaths come brand new out of the box ready for pocket carry, and they need a bit of a mod. This one started out as a belt sheath, but I pulled off all the belt loops and everything and added this clip. But I was lucky because I'm using Kydex here. But when you're using leather, it gets a bit more difficult. Take my Lion Steel M1 here. This was originally a belt sheath and it still has its belt loop, but I had to go in with a seam ripper and pick a few seams here just so that I could slide this ulti clip in and buckle it down with that screw. However, it's very pocketable now and I love it. And it's probably the only way I'd carry it. And the last way we'll talk about is neck carry. And this is where you pretty much just throw a necklace on your knife, throw it around your neck, and go about your life. These do have their own sets of pros and cons. One of my biggest cons about these is they kind of irritate your neck. So if I'm wearing a hoodie or something, I'll put my hood under the cord and that makes it a lot more comfortable. Another big con with these is your knife is literally hanging from your sheath. And if you bounce it too hard, you can lose it. And that is why I seriously recommend you only carry a neck knife outside of your shirt. If you tuck it into your shirt, it can be more concealed. But if you lose it, especially if you have a tucked in shirt, there is a knife against your torso that can cause you problems and no longer be your friend. I would prefer that if my knife is gonna fall out of my sheath, it falls away from my vital organs, but you do you. Another risk with neck knives is these are all the same risks that come when wearing a lanyard or a necklace. If you get caught in a machine or something, it can drag you down. So I'd either recommend having a breakaway or just not do a neck knife if you work around heavy machinery. But there are a lot of good reasons to carry neck knives as well. First off, there is no easier knife to get to than a neck knife. It's right in your chest area. If you sit a lot, this is a great place to carry it. It's right there. A lot of bushcrafters love them because they're very good at being present when they need to be. Hunters will for the same reason. Also, these are very, very light knives. They're designed to basically be a necklace and they don't cause you much trouble at all. So if you don't need something big and scary and you don't want to burden your pockets or your belt with your knife, then a neck knife's a great option. Now, if all of that stuff about a neck knife sounds great, except you're not into looking like you're carrying a neck knife, then I recommend a static line. This is very much like a neck knife, the same story. You have about the same size knife. It probably could serve as a neck knife, but instead of wearing it as a necklace, you loop this cord through your belt, and then you either just stuff this in your pocket or just tuck it against your waistline, and it's just there. And if it falls, who cares? It's tethered. And it's nowhere near your vital organs, and it doesn't show the world that you're carrying a knife. However, it is a little bit harder to get to sitting down. So that is just a handful of popular ways that you can carry a fixed blade, but the world is your oyster when it comes to carrying a knife. I wrote an article a few months back entitled 20 Ways to Carry a Fixed Blade, where I talked about every way you see here and more. There are so many ways to put one of man's favorite tools on your person, and I seriously recommend that you do it soon. You can find all these knives and more at bladehq.com, as well as all these carry methods and more, and we'll see you on the next one.